Guest.
Indeed we do, and we're talking about trains, the hiss of the steam, the steady chug of the engine, and the call of the whistle. Those sounds will be heard again in Thomaston, June 8th through the 17th, when the Railroad Museum of New England hosts Hank the Tank. And that's an engine, by the way. And we'll feature several trips along the scenic Naugatuck Railroad. Here to tell us more about this event for the whole family, Railroad Museum President Celeste Eklund and VP David Manning. Now, before we talk about this, because I'm a big kid at heart and I love trains, we'd like to show a clip from a DVD that you guys sent over to us. So let's take a look.
Take a trip back in history when you visit the Railroad Museum of New England in Thomaston, Connecticut. Less than an hour from New York, the museum offers visitors a 75-minute train ride in nostalgic 1920s passenger coaches, meticulously restored to the smallest detail. Pulled by a vintage locomotive, passengers enjoy a trip that winds for 20 scenic miles along the Naugatuck River, over bridges and past forests and dams. Complete with spectacular views of wildlife, including beavers, deer, herons, ducks, and geese, and even bald eagles. Crossing the river 3 times, passengers can see fishermen with their catches, while the train passes under 4 bridges along the river. When we round
I think I could watch that again and again. I just think that's so cool. I love railroads. I love riding on trains and so forth. And I think a lot of us didn't even know about the Naugatuck Railroad. So tell us how it all came about, Celeste.
Well, we've been in Thomaston about 15 years, and the Railroad Museum of New England is a much older institution, but we run the Naugatuck Railroad, and it is our tracks all the way from Waterbury that go up to Torrington. We run out of Thomaston. We have an 1881 train station there that we're also in the process of bringing to historic status and restoring that station. But we're all volunteers, and we run a full-scale railroad, so we have diesel primarily. But in June, for 2 weekends, this is when we feature Hank the Tank, which is a small steam engine.
And a lot of people just love those steam engines. Yes. It really takes them back in time and all that.
Right.
The smell of the smoke and everything. It's wonderful. Now, so the railroad is a subsidiary of the museum.
Correct.
Right? Okay. All right. This is nonprofit. You mentioned volunteers.
Yes.
And if it's all volunteer, do you need volunteers, and how important are they to you?
They're very important. We have a lot of active volunteers in all ages. Dave has been with us for a lot of years as well, and train crews, we qualify people. He can tell you about that.
Right, exactly. We need volunteers of all disciplines and walks of life, if you will, from maintaining our coaches, restoring our coaches, metalwork, woodwork, to operating the trains. Our brakemen, conductors, and engineers are all part of our volunteer staff. With the appropriate training, we march them through the ranks, for example, a number of years ago I joined, and just yesterday I was out as an engineer on a work train.
And I'm reading here too, it says that you're restoring other train pieces. Talk about that, if you would.
We have probably one of the most unique collections of historic railroad equipment in the eastern United States, if not beyond. We have a number of vintage Pullman Company cars that date back to the early part of the 20th century, that were a staple of travel in America for 50 years or more and beyond. It's a living museum. We have the whole railroad. You see history. These engines, these coaches, the steam engine that we're going to bring are all examples of these machines that really built our nation.
Well, I'll tell you, about a year and a half ago, I had the choice of flying or taking the train down to Washington. I took the train and loved every second of it. Not as rustic as what you guys are talking about.
Right.
You get to see things. Now, tell us a little bit more about the June event you guys have planned.
Yeah, we bring in a steam engine for 2 weeks. It's one that's been restored. It's an old industrial type steam engine. What's really cool about it is it's smaller, so there's no tender behind it. And our volunteers are in there as engineer, as brakemen, as firemen. The passengers get to take turns right behind the engine with the coach that's being pulled, and they take turns. They watch them shoveling the coal into the firebox. So it's pretty cool.
That is exciting.
So our volunteers are opening the firebox, and here's this big glow of orange, and the kids line up in the arms of their parents, and it's really fun to watch that.
Big kids like me too.
Yes.
Absolutely. I'll bet. Yeah, it's like
Yes.
one side here. Yeah,
Definitely.
You'd never get rid of me.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Celeste Eklund and David Manning from the Railroad Museum of New England. And for more, log on to our website at WTNH.com. Click on the Good Morning Connecticut Weekend section. We'll be right back.